Live on CNN, this is Connect the World.
Welcome to Connect the World. I'm Lynda Kinkade, filling in for my colleague Becky Anderson. Good to have you with us. We start with Afghanistan's new reality coming into stark focus today with US-led forces now gone from Bagram Air Base. The country's first vice president telling CNN that tens of thousands of people are fleeing their homes and heading to bigger cities. They fear increased violence as the Taliban make advances into areas of Afghanistan that, until now, have largely been left alone. The US withdrawal from Bagram Friday in keeping with President Joe Biden's decision to get all US forces out of Afghanistan by September 11. CNN's Anna Coren visited Bagram Air Base after the troops left, where the Afghan forces now are in control and face new challenges.
We are here at Bagram Air Base. This is the first time we've been given access to this facility since US and NATO forces departed on Friday, essentially ending America's involvement in the war. It was the hive of activity at the height of this war. It has now been handed over to the Afghans, and currently there are some 3,000 troops on the base, assessing what the Americans have left. Behind me is a delegation from the National Security Council assigned by President Ghani to strategize and work out how they are going to use Bagram Air Base moving forward. But it certainly is a strange place to be. It feels a bit like a disorganized junkyard. We know the air hangars in the background, that those hangars are still locked. We were out at the runways, which are 3 kilometers long, and it was absolutely deserted. It wasn't so long ago that there were fighter jets, cargo planes and surveillance aircraft landing and departing constantly. As I say, it is now quiet. And then here you have like a car yard. There are hundreds of vehicles that the Americans have left, whether it be four-wheel drives, pickup trucks. But this is what the Afghans are now having to assess. What is in their arsenal to continue this war? And we know that the security situation on the ground is deteriorating a lot faster than many realize. The Taliban have taken over 150 provinces in just the last 2 months. One of the vice presidents of Afghanistan has said that tens of thousands of people in the countryside where the fighting is happening are fleeing to the cities, and that has been backed up by the United Nations that says more than 56,000 people have had to flee 4 provinces in the northeast. It is alarming and very concerning for Afghans on the ground. We spoke to one military personnel who said it feels like an old friend has left without saying goodbye. There is a deep sense of abandonment here in Afghanistan. But as the Americans have spelt out, other than limited air support, this war is now up to Afghanistan to fight. Anna Coren, CNN, Bagram Air Base.
And now Anna Coren joins us now live from Kabul. Incredible access you had there and some incredible perspective of Bagram Airport and what's been left behind. There are serious concerns that the Afghan war could escalate. Just how well equipped are the Afghans now that most US forces and NATO troops are leaving?
It's interesting, Lynda. Let's just take Bagram, which obviously, as we know, was almost a mini city in itself when the Americans were there at the height of the war. It alone is a 500-acre compound. And that is going to be a logistical challenge to the Afghans to protect, to secure. I caught up with the brigadier who's in charge of that after we had visited the airbase, and he said that is his priority, that he's been brought from Kandahar to Bagram to make sure that the Taliban doesn't attack that very strategic position. And of course, there have been many attacks on Bagram Air Base, and we know that the Taliban are very close by, particularly in the mountains. And we are hearing through our sources that is exactly what the Taliban are doing. They are coming together to launch attacks because this is such an important position, not just for Afghan troops, but also for the Taliban, strategically positioned around the country. So, I mean, this is just one of the dilemmas facing Afghan forces. We know that the Taliban are taking these districts, around the country, particularly in the northeast, where they have so much momentum. And then we've got these internally displaced people. People have had to flee their homes because the Taliban has come through. So they are now expected to be turning up in city centres. As for the Afghan National Forces, we spoke to the Deputy Defence Minister. He was there at Bagram attending this national security meeting, if you like, that had been organised by President Ghani. And he said that the Americans have left us enough troops and enough equipment, that we are well resourced. We had our own equipment, and the Americans have left us plenty, but that doesn't translate to what we are seeing on the battlefield. So certainly, I think it's very fair to say, Lynda, that there are deep concerns, grave concerns, as to whether the National Security Forces can protect the local population.
And it's interesting, Anna, when you talk about the Taliban gaining more territory, more ground in the north of the country. But it's not just a fear of the Taliban. How much concern is there that al-Qaeda could re-emerge as a serious threat in Afghanistan?
I think it's very real, Lynda. If Afghanistan heads the way that so many people are predicting, which is more violence, a potential civil war breaking out, militia groups arming around the country, warlords having their armies to protect themselves and their communities, then you are creating this vacuum in which al-Qaeda, insurgents, Islamic State, terrorists can I guess, regroup again. And certainly on my previous trips to Afghanistan, when I have spent time with American troops and spoken to the commanders, it's always been that mission, that to ensure Afghanistan never becomes a safe haven for terrorists again. So yes, al-Qaeda is a real concern, because without the presence of the Americans, without that physical footprint here, it does certainly open the door to insurgent groups. And I was speaking to an NGO the other day who said that is his greatest fear, that this is going to become a narco state, which is a hotbed for terrorism in the future. And I should also add, Lynda, that a US Special Forces member who I have kept in touch with over the years, having embedded with them some years ago, that was his concern as well, that America's war in Afghanistan, fighting al-Qaeda, fighting terrorism, is not over. It may not be this week, next month, next year, but it is not done as yet.
Anna Coren, good to get that perspective from you. Good to have you there in Kabul. Our thanks to you.